niner. Making contact at point 003.
Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm Ralph.
I'm James.
And today we are discussing the tour of the Millennium Falcon as presented by Donald Glover. A video
very brief
that I'd seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's like a 5-minute video, like an 8-minute video or something.
Have you got a different one?
It's
Mine a minute and 45 seconds.
It's a minute and a half. The 45, the extra 15 seconds are the end screen from on YouTube, which Star Wars has a pretty cool end screen. It's like, it's all right, but one of the default videos that they put up there is just their playlist for Solo, and it's a picture of Alden Ehrenreich in front of like a blank background, just going like this.
it's not like, the best screenshot.
You gotta work on your thumbnails.
Yeah.
You know who needs to work on their thumbnails is Disney Plus. Oh, jeez Louise.
They're not great, are they? Like it's annoying because their backgrounds that they put on things, like the sort of the template background, are great. Yeah. They always look nice. They're often new, unique bits of art that they've done or like re-photoshopped or anything. But then the thumbnail for episodes is like, really? That's the shot that you pulled?
It's crazy. Like I mean, I took so much time grabbing a thumbnail for this episode because it's so quick. It's quick cuts. Yeah. It's constant movement. It's such a fast video that you can't get a shot of Donald Glover that's not blurry or he's not making he's not in the mid
turn. I think like he turns a lot. Yeah. Like every shot he's like facing the camera and then he turns and then it cuts. So this is 100% like an MTV Cribs supercut. Like I like if one of those was a 15-minute segment, this is the minute and a half trailer that you'd get as an advert for one of those. I want the longer version. Like it's.
I swear there was a longer version.
I mean, I don't know. I watched this back when it first came out in it must have been 2018. Right. And yeah, I feel like it was longer, but maybe not. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I've just got images of him sat at the Jarek table, but maybe that was just when he hops up on the thing. I don't know. We might all just be imagining that it might be a Berenstein Bears, but Donald Glover on the Falcon.
I don't know, but I mean, this is probably, I'm gonna say it is the shortest subject we've covered.
Might well be. I can't especially in a full episode. Like maybe a data link, we might have covered something real short, but yeah.
I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about biomes, which still make biomes 2 happen.
Make biomes 2 happen.
But that was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something. So yeah, this is, I mean, I guarantee we're going to be able to fill this time.
Oh, I mean, when do we ever struggle?
because it's Solo. And Solo, I think, was our first regular episode.
It was just over 2 years ago.
And any chance to talk about Solo, like we'll go for it. You're a massive Donald Glover fan. I don't know how that came into being. Like I know Donald Glover from Community.
Yeah, it was around the time of Community. I also discovered Childish Gambino. I'd heard about it, and I think I might have seen some of the old Derek comedy videos. But from those, I like hadn't picked up that it was him. I remember seeing the movie that those guys did, Mystery Team. But this was all around the time of like season 1 of Community. So it was what, 2009. And then it just became a massive Childish Gambino fan. And yeah, from there it's just I don't know, I try not to have heroes because people shit in general, and so just try and let them down. And I always preach that, so that when you get a story of such and such is a horrible, horrible person. This came up when we were talking about when you did your Lost stream recently about Damon and Carlton and everything that came out about the Lost writers' rooms and how bad of a production that was. I mentioned in the comments there, I was like, don't have heroes. If you can, like, try not to, but don't put people on a pedestal, basically.
Yeah.
I always preach that, and then I'm like, fuck, but Donald Glover is up there for me. Like, I think
Right.
I think he's very, very funny. I think he's very talented, and it's the fact that he's just a jack of all trades. He's doing everything, and that's always been something that I've really admired about him. He's a weirdo who just chooses to do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it, and doesn't really seem to care what other people think about it. And I think that's a very admirable quality in someone.
I feel like because of that, we probably could have reached out to him.
I mean,
who would have known?
I think the chances we got him was a hard no, but it's also one of those things where it's like, who knows? Like, it's so strange that it might have just turned around and just be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If he's got nothing better to do today, like
if it did show up, I'd be like, I don't even know if I'd want to talk about anything but the video.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're a different story.
I think it's one of those things we've said it in the past. It's like, if we ever were able to get Mark Hamill on here, I think as soon as I found out that it was happening, I'd have that freak out. Oh my God, what the hell? And then in the moment, I'd be like, yeah, it's cool. This is a human. Where everyone's just a person. And then after the fact, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
And I think that would be the same here. I don't know. I've sort of had a brief encounter with the guy anyway. That's a whole different story about, like, when I saw Childish Gambino in London, their first UK show that they ever did. Again, very early, he wasn't the Donald Glover that he is now. He was just still a stand-up comedian who was on a show doing a rap career, and no one really knew about it or cared about it at the time yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I don't know. It'd be an interesting one. It would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to him about being on the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fun. I think that'd be really fun.
Because clearly in the minute and a half of this, you could tell he's genuinely happy and really happy to show it off.
And whenever he talks about being Lando, he seems, even just recently, he seems like, yeah, I think the quote that he said recently, it might have been GQ or something like that. He was giving an interview about what he's up to, what he's doing at the moment, because he's just bought like an apple farm or something like that. During COVID, he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna, get away from everything. He's got a family now. He seems to have sort of settled down. He's moved into a different stage of his career. He might have been promoting that new Amazon show that he had. And he was like, yeah, I just kind of have decided that I only really want to do things with the people that I want to hang around with. And what a great position to be in. He's not doing anything for a paycheck anymore. He doesn't need to. So he's just like, yeah,
feels like a Bill Murray type of lifestyle.
Absolutely. I think they're very similar in that kind of weird, eccentric thing. You never really know when they're going to pop up, because it's like, yeah, he's around. He knows everyone, seems to get on with everyone, has weird friends in weird connections and weird places because he has so many plates spinning at all times.
Right.
And he said about like all these projects that have been announced in the past, like the Lando series, he's like, yeah, I'd love to do it. I mean, I'm totally down. It's just Lando is, I only want to do things with people that I want to hang around with. And Lando is someone that I'd want to hang around with. So when it comes up, when we've got it sorted, when basically saying, when there's a story that we all agree on and is good, then we'll start, but we're not going to rush into it, which is, I think, pretty healthy way of doing it. Yeah. It sort of echoes a lot of what Kathleen Kennedy said recently as well. So
we'll get to it. Yeah,
we'll get to it. It'll be ready when it's ready.
Just let me know when it's ready. Not that it's
you don't need to announce it so far in advance.
Tristan mentions it was nice seeing him in a certain movie this weekend.
It was really nice.
I mean, it's been
a couple of weeks since it came out. Yeah.
He's in Across the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. As his live action self, which is crazy.
From the MCU,
they just flat out put in live action people in the animated movie. I could talk about that movie for hours.
I
That
mean,
movie is amazing.
I
My sister did not like that movie.
wow, that's really interesting. Uh,
Stevie loved it.
Liz and I went to see it opening weekend, and yeah, our jaws were on the floor from
Yeah.
moment one. It was the most joy I've had in a movie theater in a long time. I adored that
Yeah.
movie.
Right. It felt like the Empire Strikes Back of
Absolutely.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's like, oh, this is expanding on stuff.
Mm.
It's really getting into the meat of the story, and
Mhm.
it leaves you on a cliffhanger. It kind of leaves you like, oh man, here we go. Interesting for me though is Donald Glover's in this movie.
Yep.
And which is produced by Lord and Miller.
Mm.
And so here's the thing, like the reports were that people on the set were excited that Lord and Miller were leaving the production.
Yeah. I don't know who those people are.
Either do I. And I feel like if they were so hated on set, why would Donald Glover be like, yeah, sure, I'll come do Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Like it don't.
And like he and Phoebe Waller-Bridge clearly had a good relationship together because they were developing Mr. and Mrs. Smith together. She has since left that project, but there doesn't seem to be like it was on any bad blood. It was just like, I'm gonna go do this. You've got this basically. But yeah, they clearly worked well together and enjoyed working together. Again, comes back to that. I just want to work on things with people that I like hanging around with.
Right. And he's not like in it a bunch. He probably was in there for an afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. It would have, it's a one-day shot, really, isn't it? Like,
but still, I feel like the way he works, like if he doesn't like someone, he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't need to. Like, if he never came back into like the MCU with the Tom Holland sort of live action movies, I don't think anyone would be surprised. But yeah, I think, and that was the case after Homecoming where we first saw him. Whereas now it's like they could do that if they want. They can make live action Prowler because of these Spider-Verse movies. Prowler is now a sort of a household name Spider-Man villain,
right?
Which is wild. That's what these movies have done really well, and the MCU in general have made some obscure villains household names. So yeah, that's great. So,
and I can see him just doing the Spider-Man movie, to introduce the character that essentially is giving you an in to Miles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
I mean, even in
Miles
Homecoming,
fan.
It was one of those like, if you know, you know, because he mentions his little nephew and things like. So, yeah, it's all there. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Falcon.
Let's talk about the Falcon.
What are your thoughts on Lando's clean version of the Falcon, inside and outside, compared to the classic Falcon?
When we first saw it, I was super excited because we've always known for years that the Falcon is sort of got a modular feel to it. There's one of the like Haynes auto manual books. I've got it just down there. I think I showed it off maybe in one of our early episodes, probably that solo episode, where they did a breakdown of all the different configurations that YT1300s were available, like fresh off the line. In the same way that when you buy a new car, you can have it with the sports package or this package. And clearly at this point in time, it had that nose escape pod cockpit thing or extra cabin. And so to have that on there, when we first saw it in the trailer, I was like, that's super cool. That feels like a sort of an EU-ish reference. And I enjoyed it. It was fun seeing it in the film, but I don't think it was used particularly well. It was just used that one time as the decoy
to hit the
thing. Yeah, it was just a way of making it look different and new. But inside, I really enjoyed because all the features are there. Everything that we know and love about the Falcon is there, but we're getting different angles of things, and we're getting I think it's really fun. I
really like the clean version, and
it's
I might like it more.
Wow.
Than the classic Falcon. it just looks so cool. Because here's the thing: one of my favorite ships is the blockade runner, the Tanta V4.
It's that clean white line,
And it's
like
that
white
clean
walls.
white line. It's my favorite thing. The opening shot of the movie Alien, where it's like, oh, it's a clean white ship, like where the pods are, the cryo chamber pods.
Yeah.
And I like that look. I like that 2001 Space Odyssey look to ships. Classic NASA.
It's very it's NASA. It's very old school sci-fi sort of thing. It's
and
it's such a stark difference from like original trilogy Star Wars.
But it's also great because in the movie Star Wars, when you're a kid and there's the reveal of the Millennium Falcon, you're like, whoa, look at that cool looking ship. And Luke says, what a piece of junk. And you're like, it still looks cool.
Yeah.
But to now be able to see what it looks like when it's not a piece of junk.
What just ships in general look like. So the Tantive was a diplomatic ship. So it's going to look clean. It's carrying a senator and things like that. So it makes sense. The Star Destroyers are clean because it's sort of military precision, but everyday people ships and the Rebel stuff is all beaten up because it's repurposed, reused, scavenged. Everyday people ships are, that's just his truck. That's just his truck that he's gonna throw trash on the floor when he's done with his cut from the space drive through sort of thing. Like it's got that feel to it. Whereas this is someone who takes pride. He puts this through a car wash. Like he's
This takes place, or Solo takes place, what, 10 years before Star Wars? So the outside we see get beat up in Solo. The inside we don't see get beat up. And
I think that we don't see it on screen, but I just think Han and Chewie are very, very heavy smokers. Because you get that yellowing on the walls.
That's what I'm wondering.
Like, I think they've just got
fire. Do you think there's been a fire in there?
Fire
it's
maybe.
everything.
I mean,
everything.
But I mean, we see a fire even in Solo, like in there. So yeah. I mean, there's likely that there's been a few fires.
I wonder if the areas that were on fire, if those are already starting to turn
color. I've got the video open in a different window here because it's constantly flashing up things, and it's like an incredible cross sections.
Do you want to bring it up
of the thing? Yeah, I can bring it up. Let's do that. I can present. I was messing around with this just before we started.
The part of the show where we figure out StreamYard's back end.
Yeah, and it's the first time that I've been the one doing this.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we can see it there. And that is a free custom bingo card generator that I've got in another tab because I'm going to Glastonbury next week and we are creating bingo cards for everyone to play with. But like I love some of this stuff that we get on here because some of it is like, yeah, cool. It's is that an IG 0.1 or a 16.1 space surround system? 16.1 makes sense. Patent leather, which he mentions. And then it's just nonsense things like buttons that light up. But like we don't like it's just like, okay, cool, great. This door, like where does that go? Because this corridor goes around here. So this circuit bay.
I feel like isn't that where 3PO is holding onto his leg?
Is that door? Or I thought it was in a corridor.
Or is that where Han and Leia
is that
kiss?
Medical room that it could be where Han
What's crazy about the Falcon ride?
Yeah.
Now, when you go into the Falcon ride, there's this area, this sort of area that we all know
the lounge. Yeah.
And you all have to get to the cockpit, but they can't have you all go up to the same way. So what they do is they'll have a door like that.
Okay.
Where they'll send a group through a door like that. They'll go through the guts and end up at the cockpit space. And it's probably taking you a completely different cockpit.
Yeah.
But
because the cockpits are
it doesn't feel like you're going the wrong direction at any given time. Like they've got it mapped out in such a way where it's like a maze. So like I think I've been through a door like that. I'm pretty sure I've been through a door like that.
I mean, we've definitely seen that shape, but that one in particular, like I'm just it throws me because I'm like, it doesn't feel like there's enough space for it to be anything unless it goes off to the left over this way.
Yeah, this is why we need a vehicle fly through of this, and they have to
Absolutely.
have the footage somewhere. They
Or
have
an
to have it
extended
somewhere.
cut.
Because
I
we're
mean,
looking at an angle that we haven't seen really.
we might see it briefly in Solo,
chair,
but
the
no.
chair right next to me here, that's the one that Han's sitting in.
Yeah.
Where it talks about Hokie religion. So
Yeah,
we're looking at
over here
the
is
Jarek board's
where
on the other side.
Jarek, yeah. Han sat over here. Luke, this is gone by the time of the original trilogy.
Right.
And the camera is
Luke's
essentially
training.
it's here when Luke is training.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm trying to think as far as the I want to say the door or the hatch that comes down, the ramp would be
that way.
I guess somewhere up there. I don't know, man. I need to look at a schematic.
I mean, they're in there, but it's whether or not there's any up to date ones.
Yeah.
What do you think about the wet bar?
It's great.
I think it's fantastic. It's like they did such a good job of making this Donald Glover.
Oh my god!
I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I didn't see the Wookiee cookie jar, which is like, I mean, it's silly, it's nonsense. But whoever would put this video together were going in and labeling it, and it's like they're just having fun with it. Like Wookiee cookie is just fun to say.
But there's a thing up there. It says Calf Brewer, which is before what, Andor?
It's before, it's before Andor. I mean, Calf's been used in books and comics forever, but yeah,
somebody clearly has information on,
Well, it's like calling a toilet a refresher. Like they've always done that, and now like we've seen one of those a couple of times in shows and games now.
But it's funny because it's like terminology we know from like EU stuff and from other media, but then there's also Wookiee cookie jar, like it's like silly. And they just put fruit storage because if when they show that thing, there's fruit in it. I like the slow cooker.
Yeah, the auto chef slow
cooker is so cool looking.
It's great.
It looks like something you'd see in Aunt Beru's kitchen. It looks very it almost looks 60s instead of 70s, which is fine because I mean technically this would be space, 1966.
Yeah, it would be about that. Yeah.
All
of it, all of the cups and everything, they all sort of fit the theme. Like the cocktail shakers are just straight up cocktail shakers.
Right.
They're everywhere.
Like 2 black stripes on the top to make it.
But I mean, you can absolutely buy those in almost any drink supply or kitchen supply store.
Same with the canisters to the right. These ones, vintage Resta Reserve.
What's Resta?
Those are also cocktail things. It looks like they're dressed up a little bit, but for the most part, this is all like
Space Blender. So that's Space Blender is sort of the sort of way that we would describe something on a show where like, it's just silly. It's fun.
The white padding on the wall that curves down up above the Space Blender.
Yeah.
Like just like that. Looks so cool. It looks like the Millennium Falcon, even though
it's a part of it that we never seen.
Nothing in here we've seen is classic Millennium Falcon.
This cabin bit gets repurposed later on as another sort of storage bed, because I'm pretty sure that this is where this is where Chewie is when like in Force Awakens when Finn is trying to like look after him and he roars at him. Like that's where Chewie is laying.
And that's also in the one in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So in there's just some box. It's used for like storage boxes, and I believe there's like a porg nest.
Okay.
Because there's porg nest hidden throughout the attraction. There's like wires.
Yeah.
In that shape. But I mean, like this little section, I would love to have as an actual sort of bar. I don't know how I would do the rest of a room, but
it's one of those things. It's like if you were gonna ever have a bar, if
you look at that wall behind him, if you go back, there's like a hidden door. There's a cabinet just past the blender.
Oh, in this back bit in the kitchen.
No, the other one.
Oh, there. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Like it's details like that are pretty cool.
This one.
Yeah,
over
see
here.
that that's that panel you can totally
Yeah, because you can tell there's a little handle there, isn't there?
Yeah.
You could pull out. Yeah. Little
So it might be a
table,
refrigerator.
refrigerator. Yeah. Yeah,
And
little
it looks like
pull-out
he's got a couple of
table.
trash cans behind him or stools.
Yeah. Some.
I like it.
It's
The
great.
details great.
And it's
You don't
stuff
see
that
that stuff, but it's
you're
there.
never gonna see. This is what good set decorating does. It just
I don't
it
even know
makes
if they
it
show the
livable.
bar in the movie.
Maybe when they first get on and they're sort of all sitting around. I don't know. No, I don't. If they do, it's brief.
Right.
But it's one of
Right.
those things that when Solo came out, we all knew that he had a wet bar.
Yeah.
Maybe he might. I think he might say that he has a wet bar at some point. The classic corridor,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Looking
we get
amazing.
the typical
yellow.
cribs. This is where the magic happens. There we go. Let's stop that there.
Fitness nook.
I mean, okay. I hadn't noticed that. That looks more like the engine room where
Yeah.
Leia and Han kiss.
Right. And I'm
Again,
wondering.
it makes it very Donald
Okay,
Glover
so-
centric. It makes it very
so
Donald
here's the
Glover
thing.
centric that there is a personal stereo or music in every room. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
But let me just tell you something here. This is what's happening.
Okay.
Nowhere does it say bed.
Oh no.
It says there's overhead mood lighting,
Yeah.
and they call this a fitness nook. What
Oh,
kind of
no,
fitness
it's-
can he? What kind
it's
of
here.
fitness can he do in that book?
Well, he's
Oh,
got
I guess so.
the
but-
Kajak hair lined bed.
Right, but what is he? What's the fitness that he's doing in that?
Yeah,
nook?
right. We all know.
Yeah. So that's not that.
Do you not
That's
think?
just the panel open to the engine parts.
Okay.
I think they're calling this
His fitness nook.
yes, because a nook is like a
an
outlet,
inlet,
like a cutout piece of So that's
Mhm.
what that is.
His starlight wake up light. It looks very nice. The overhead mood lighting. You know that changes colors as and when he needs it to.
Where's our Bluetooth like Alexa that has that shape like that?
This one.
I wonder if you can. I wonder if you can look up the parts to make
It looks
that
like just a
prop.
nice lamp. Yeah.
But find out how they made that prop, make it, and drop an Alexa into it.
Mm-hmm. When he's talking through this, like he drops the Kajak lined bed. He drops that line just so subtly, and it's like most of the time he's talking in sort of quite earthy tones because this isn't Lando doing this tour. This is Donald Glover, but he just drops that so subtly and so smoothly that it's like it's a very Star Warsy thing.
And somebody told him that, and he's like, "Oh, that must be like the
It's
best
a detail.
material."
Yeah. It's like a fancy leather, like
And again, music.
everywhere.
And I love that they just used regular old headphones and like painted them silver. I think we see something like that in Star Wars.
The headphone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
In one of the Rebel bases, maybe on Echo base. I mean,
Maybe.
you've got what's her name's got her headphones on. Yeah. And then that's it. Torrent 4. The cape closet or armoire.
Okay, this 100% Lord and Miller, like a closet just for capes, feels like just because we know Lando,
he wore a cape in one movie. Like what? No, I suppose in
he
two.
wears one in Jedi.
In Jedi as well. Yeah, at the end. Yeah,
but I'm trying to think of other characters that wear capes in Star Wars, and it's
Vader.
Like Vader.
Yeah.
I know Biggs does in his deleted scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like one of those things.
around.
I feel like capes are more prominent in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Bail Organa later,
Mm-hmm.
but this is just the fact that they're like this is his thing.
The Sirocco jewelry safe down here. Sirocco is a word. I don't know if it was a planet or an organization. It's definitely, I've seen it maybe in a video game. So it might be like a manufacturing company and you get like a Sirocco blaster or whatever. But it's definitely a Star Warsy word that I've seen before. And then he goes through and he lists off a bunch of capes, and it's definitely Donald Glover just ad-libbing like what he would consider, like, I'd wear this for my sister's wedding. There's this one. There's all the different occasions of what they're for.
Yeah. I was looking for the Lando disguise outfit that Beckett wears later in the movie. But I did not see it in here. This is literally just for capes.
Yeah.
And this also is in the movie. Like it's kind of funny. Like it's a good joke. Like when
there's a kiss in there, like, yeah.
And and she's just trying on the capes. Dude, Solo's so fun.
It is.
Solo's the best. I love Solo. Well, not the best. Star Wars is the best. But Solo is so good. Solo has the spirit of Star Wars, I think.
I'd agree with that.
It's not overly dramatic. It's not. It's melodramatic at points.
It's got it when it needs to. Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's not. Like I like Kylo Ren, but it's so emo and it's so. But I mean, I guess Anakin was like that too. It's just fun. It's just fun. Look at these.
It's when they've got a set like this, and it comes up all the time. Everyone says it, especially like people who are in the films. They're like, "Oh, it's when I was on the Falcon." When you just go in it and start playing, and this is when he's here. He's like, "We got sliders, the slide, and it's buttons that you can press and light up, and it just does fun stuff. It's what you want it to do."
Again, when you go to Galaxy's Edge, you get in the Falcon and you get this sort of, I mean, first of all, you see it from the outside, but then when you get inside, I don't really talk about the inside much. You want to be there forever, but they kind of push you forward into the ride, but you'll get to sit at like the Dejeric table and stuff and look at things. But like every single button
is a button
in there, lights up, makes a sound. Great. If you hit certain ones, shit happens. Like it'll like
there's
things will like
codes essentially down.
Yeah. But dude, going in the cockpit, even though there's 2 additional seats, going in the cockpit, sitting down, buckling up, no matter where you're sitting, that's all you want to do is start hitting buttons. And when you hit them, they all make a sound and do something
amazing
and light up. And there's like a screen there, a little like computer display there. And it's so, dude, like he's excited for a reason.
Yeah, oh, totally.
But you gotta try. You gotta get down here. We mentioned this last week on Data Link. For those of you who don't watch the YouTube version, there's nothing like it. There's really nothing like it. I don't even really care for the Millennium Falcon ride that much. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone says. It's the experience of being on the Falcon more than the ride.
Yeah,
so, yeah. That's I've heard that from everyone.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I share his excitement.
Yeah. Brick something here says he gives L3 daps every time he's on Smuggler's Run. I think I've said it when we've covered some of the other movies, but I would be absolutely fine with a special edition Return of the Jedi scene where when Lando goes into the Falcon, he just gives it a little tap, just that thing as they go into the cockpit. And I was shocked, and I'm still shocked that there's nothing like that in Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, he just shows up though.
Yeah, but they see him going onto the Falcon and things like that. It's like just I'd love to see it. Just some acknowledgement that she's there.
Right. And that's funny because it's like it's such a late edition. Like this is like what, 2 movies ago? Solo?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
2 movies ago.
Wow.
And like the acceptance of L3 as being the nav computer is like 100% across the board. Anytime I watch Star Wars, that happened. Like it's something new introduced into the story where I just completely and immediately 100% like accepted it as it didn't take me like I'm still not over the fact that Anakin built 3PO.
Yeah.
It still kind of weirds me out, but L3, and L3 was a character I was like, oh, she's a bit much. Like she's really like
Mhm.
aggressively like
I know. Yeah.
huge chip on her
She's
shoulder.
she's got an agenda.
Yes, 100%. Like
Yeah.
that's how we meet her.
Mhm.
But and I don't get emotional when she gets killed or shot. But
I think
I
a lot of that comes from me,
absolutely
not from her getting shot and killed. It's Lando's reaction that I think
and
most good.
she also doesn't have a lot of screen time.
No,
Like if you actually watch the movie,
she's in it for about
she's probably in
25
it for
minutes tops.
barely.
Yeah,
Barely.
yeah.
It's probably like maybe 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
Yeah.
lot.
No more than Val.
Because they literally go from getting the Falcon to going to the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
And she's gone like before they even do the Kessel Run. So I guess what's good is they packed a lot of just
a
they made her
memorable
character
character
stand
for
out.
20 minutes. Absolutely.
And now I 100%. I love, even though I don't care for the character, I
it
love
always
that
fits the
she's
line
the
with
Falcon.
with 3PO saying, "I don't know where the Falcon learned to communicate" and everything like that. It all fits. It all just works.
I have a feeling that's a John Kasdan thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see John Kasdan, if you watch Willow, which no one did and no one will. I think they're taking it off.
It's gone. I think it might already be gone.
His attention to detail and the stuff he lived and breathed Willow. Same with Star Wars. So
he's been around it forever.
To create a character based on that one line from Empire. Is that an Empire? Yep. It's kind of ingenious, and I like it. It gives the Falcon more of a personality. But yeah, it makes it's funny that it makes the Falcon a rebellious sort of being. But it, like that's what you want from the Falcon, is to be like abrasive and headstrong, and like it's like, oh man, that's kind of perfect. It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
You want the Falcon to be like,
it's got an attitude. It's
unpredictable. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's cliche to say, but it is a character into itself. And now knowing that there's a reason for that, there's a specific reason, because the Falcon that we know in the original trilogy does definitely have more character. This version of the Falcon's real pretty. It's real nice. But the same with any car, like a real shiny new car looks great, and that's amazing. But something a bit more lived in and beaten up has more personality. It's got more character to it.
Right.
And the same.
She may not look like much.
She's got it where it
counts.
counts.
Got it where it counts.
Yeah.
I love it.
I
really
like the
L3s.
did a lot of special modifications myself. Like, we know that it's more than just this, but it's like that kind of started with L3. She's the first of those special modifications that come.
And what's funny is he says I made a lot of modifications myself, but then we learn in Solo that he's been sort of fibbing.
Oh yeah, I mean all of it's like
Kessel Run,
bluster, isn't
so
it?
it's like
bullshit.
The special modifications could have been what Beckett and Kira were doing.
Yeah,
like
totally.
rerouting and adding the rock
injecting the things like that. Yeah,
because he's definitely in the movie. Doesn't know the technical shit. He knows he can fly.
Yeah.
And I feel like the special modifications would come from someone like Hondo or something. Like he probably found the people. He clearly has some knowledge of stuff. Like when he's telling Chewie,
he's sort of along for the ride, but always thinks he's in control of the ride.
He'll take credit for someone messing with a compressor or whatever. Like he understands the stuff, but I don't know if he can do it or not. He just wants it to get done quick, and he wants to get
the credit for it.
The wheel.
And it's not even that he'll take it like aggressively. He's just like, no one else is taking the credit, so yeah, of course I did it. I was there too, therefore I did it.
Yeah, but goddamn, that line. He's because you don't know what Chewie says, but he says, "Yeah, but if you round down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's I
So
mean,
good.
yeah, rounded down because it's like he's saying that he did it in 12 parsecs
Yeah,
and is probably closer
Chewie
to
groans.
14. Yeah,
Yeah, and what's great is
13. Yeah.
he's lived with that lie to where he believes it. So by the
Mm.
time that Force Awaken happens, and she says, "Oh, it's the ship that made the Kessel Run in
14 parsecs.
14 parsecs," and he
Yeah.
goes under his breath,
12. Yeah. I mean, it's not even under his breath. He sort of yells it as he's walking away
Yeah.
because he's probably heard that from Chewie for ages, and he's
God,
like,
he's
"No."
such a shithead.
he's
such a shithead.
He's great because like we now attribute so much of that to Harrison Ford and the way like his grumpiness to it, and so it's all sort of simpatico. It all works together so nicely.
Alden Ehrenreich nailed it.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I know that friend of the show, Rick Dement, met him recently at Tribeca. He was taking some photos. And it's one of those things that you hear about Donald Glover. He's like, yeah, well, I'm going to come back and do Lando when the time's right, when we've got the story right. It's like, man, get Alden in there, even if it's just for like a 1 episode thing. Like, I'd love to see it. Like, I don't think we need Solo 2 to happen. I'm not going to say no to it if it ever did, but having Han pop up in the Lando show would be great.
I mean,
or
that would have
anywhere
to
else
happen.
that it's appropriate.
I feel like that would have to happen at some point.
I don't know.
He doesn't fit in Andor, but he's that
time frame he does. But yeah, that would then hit the problem of throwing him in just because.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like Melshi. It's not like Melshi being an Andor where it absolutely
I think it could work in Andor, and here's why. Because when we see, he doesn't have to be part of the rebellion. Andor is still in the underground, even when we see him in Rogue One when he shoots that dude in the back. Like Andor's still out there living that lifestyle.
Han absolutely has probably been to the Rings of Kafrene and has done some jobs at some point there. Like,
right.
Yeah. I think about the Outer Rim board game, and Kafrene is one of those places that you can go to, and you can pick up bounties there. You can do some smuggling from or to there. It's like, it's absolutely just an Outer Rim. It looked seedy. It looked like somewhere that you'd see him.
Dude, like if I don't know if Tony Gilroy's up for this kind of stuff.
That's probably the whole thing holding that back.
If there was a 3-episode arc where those two teamed up, but as smugglers, not as part of the rebellion, like
or like at that point, Andor is working for the rebellion, but it's like he's in the shady side of things,
right?
And then it's literally they cross over by a day or two, like of being at the Yavin base. So yeah,
right,
yeah,
it might be, yeah,
a few days, but still, like not much. Yeah. Like there'd be a crossover where like one leaves, never saw Han arrive. Han arrives, never saw Cassian Andor there, or really any of the people that he interacts with, because a lot of them are gone.
But yeah, I feel like I don't know. I want to see him back as Han. I thought he did a great job. Nothing against Donald Glover, but I was more surprised by Alden Ehrenreich's portrayal of Han Solo than I was.
I think that was the thing. Like, when Donald Glover was announced as casting, we all were like, absolutely perfect. He can be Billy D, and like he's got that same charm and swagger that Billy D. I mean, he still does. But he's perfect. He's perfect casting for it, and he did it. He did a slight tweak on Billy D, I'd say. And that's absolutely fine. He did the job. Alden's Han isn't the same as Harrison Ford's Han, but it's still Han.
It's so Han.
Yeah. Literally Johnny mentioned a while ago Cribs Tatooine, and it made me go, okay, if we're talking about this little 1.5-minute video as an episode of MTV Cribs, if you extend this out to 15 minutes, you get two celebrities or two people in the Star Wars galaxy per episode of Cribs. You get Luke or Owen. I don't think Uncle Owen's going to be walking you around the homestead, but you get Luke.
Luke would.
Luke absolutely would. Hey kid, we want to come
Especially,
and shoot
he would
you.
only do it to get to the garage.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my
He would
garage. This
do
is
his
where
T16.
that's where the magic happens for nerd boy Luke. He's not doing
Yeah.
anything in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just made me go, what other locations would you want a cribs in? Because it's got to be like, you can't just do bases, because at that
I
point,
got
unless
mine.
you do areas of bases.
I already got mine.
Go on then. Tristan's got one here. Obi-Wan's Hermitage, which is a great word. I don't know if that's an actual word or not, but it's like, yeah. Go on, what's yours?
Admiral Piet.
Oh, Piet's.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I feel like we can all picture like Thrawn. In fact, we've probably seen a lot
We
of
have
like,
seen
Thrawn.
it. Yeah, it's gonna have art all over the place. It's
Yeah.
very gallery-esque.
I'm curious to know about Piet because like he's such a blank slate,
Yeah,
and we don't
who
have
is
any
Piet?
insight into who he is.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if it's like Thrawn,
I mean,
or if
even
it's
Jerjerrod, we know more from those deleted scenes that we watched a few weeks ago. Like, we
Yeah.
know a little bit more about him. Like, he's actually supportive of his troops and his men. Yeah.
Is it like Cyril from Andor? Is it very like tidy?
I mean, there you go. Cyril Khan's cribs of his mum's house.
Ugh.
Oof. This is the breakfast bar. This is where the cereal comes from. We've got a TV in the breakfast nook.
Yeah, that was great. That show was great.
I've rewatched the Prison Arc, the Narkina 5 stuff about a week and a half ago. Like, it's amazing. It's some of the best Star Wars that there is. Period.
Yeah.
I think Admiral Akbar's quarters on Home 1.
Yeah, do you think it's like pools?
It's gonna have a
and stuff?
tank.
Like,
It's definitely gonna have a tank in it, isn't it? It's gonna be. I mean, you go to the old X-Wing novels and they talk about his quarters. I think they're like atmosphere controlled, so it's very, very, very humid in there. It's almost like misty, but a warm mistiness to it. So I'd want something like that, or a tank for him to swim in.
Well, yeah, there was that episode of Mandalorian, the last season, where they had that tank on the bridge.
Yeah, exactly, for the Quarren. So like Quarren and on Moncal, they live on the same planet, so it makes sense that they would both want that when they're possible.
Dude, what if there was what if in his room, or not a little, but it had a chest, like a pirate chest with bubbles that like went up like an aquarium? Like, what if it literally had like aquarium shit in it?
Yeah, be great.
What if it had like,
there's an aquarium in Jedi Survivor in there, like the outpost that you help do up throughout the course of the game as you do more stuff and find more things. Like, more people arrive at this cantina and it gets built up and it gets nicer and nicer and nicer. And there's an aquarium in the center of it behind the bar. And there's the little fisherman friend of yours, Scuba Steve. And as you find more fish around the galaxy, the tank gets cleaner and cleaner, and he'll tell you old pirate stories. It's fun.
Home 1 is Moncal ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so instead of doors, I mean, there might be a door for privacy, but instead of a door, what if it's like Gungan City, where you just like walk into it?
Yeah,
it's like, or I guess it would be the opposite, but it would be an invisible barrier that separates water, and he could just go in there and like swim right in. Maybe there's like coral and stuff. I don't know.
Ooh, you do an aquatic species or an amphibious species, at least, episode of Space MTV Cribs, and you've got Admiral Akbar at the first half of the episode, and the second half is Jar Jar's in Utagunga. Because I feel like that's gonna definitely have like a teenager feel to it. He's gonna have some posters on the wall. It's gonna be a bit goofy. He's gonna have like some toys scattered around. That'd be fun.
I just did a quick search of Admiral Akbar's bedroom. Nothing.
I'm pleased to click on any Rule 34.
Nothing came up, but there's a pillow with his face on it, and it says it's a nap.
That's it. The show's over.
Yeah, I would watch that. I would watch it.
I'd watch it.
Yep. Again, a Cribs an MTV Cribs for Star Wars is essentially vehicle fly-throughs.
Yeah, that's it. It's just it's a different take on it. If Biomes is the nice chilled out like lo-fi music playing in the background, calm one, the MTV Cribs one is the quick cuts. Like it's that MTV style. It's like it's the more manic ADHD version of a vehicle fly-through.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm here for it.
Let's make
more
it
of these. More of these. Like I want one of these for every film. Like why did we not get this for every film? It'd be great.
I don't know. I don't know if I have much more to say about the thing. It's really easy to watch if you haven't watched it. It's a minute.
I mean, I forgot about it. I was doing some work before we got started, and I was like, oh shit, it's 3:00 my time, and I was like, I haven't watched the video yet. I hope it's not too long. I fired it up, and I was like, it's a minute and a half. I was like, okay, I'll watch it literally before I jumped into the stream.
Yeah. All right, James, I'm sure you prepared for this.
I did. I actually did.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're gonna say next week is a little bit up in the air right now. James is going to be out of town.
Yep, I'm going to be at Glastonbury. I'm going to be in a field. What day is it? Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon. I'll have probably been there, set up my campsite, and I will have, I'm going to guess, my second drink in my hand by this time.
Yeah. So it is Data Link week. So we either maybe have the week off, or
we might have.
We might pre-record something.
We've got some things in the works. I've worked out. I've teased it in the past that I want to do some trivia. I've got all of the back end of that sorted out now. It's just gonna find some people if they're available to pre-record something before I go. We're gonna get that done, and that'll be out on Wednesday. If not, it'll be coming soon. We're gonna have a few of those. We're going to try and get a few of those done over the summer because there might be some weeks where one or both of us aren't available. Right. So if you want to be involved, please just tweet at us at Live Action SW.
Yeah. And it turns out if you're going to Comic-Con, turns out I'm going to be there the whole time.
There you
go. Usually go down there for one day, but I'm going to have to, I'm going to be there the whole time. So come find me.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Kelly mentions the Data Link show on the new open world Star Wars game. I guess we'll talk about it when there's more to talk about. At the moment, there's just that trailer.
There's more than the trailer. There's like a 13-minute gameplay footage.
Oh wow! Oh, I haven't even watched that.
Looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the reveal trailer. I mean, how about this? I'm free on Monday, Ralph. If we can't get some trivia pre-recorded, we could talk about that if you want.
Yeah,
do that as a Data Link next week.
I mean, shit, we could even do it live.
We could do it live. Just
Data Link doesn't have to be on a Wednesday.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned to
if we do trivia, it'll be pre-recorded just because that's going to make it easier for like questions and answers and things like that. Yeah. But if we're talking about it, it'll be live. Why not?
Yeah. Cool. And look at that. Find that 13-minute gameplay footage thing because it looks cool.
Oh, yeah, it came out the next day, didn't it? It said at the end of the trailer, gameplay the next day, and I just forgot.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Me and Stevie watched both, and then we're like, shit, I think we're going to need to get a PS5.
Cool.
I know I would like to have Xbox and play Halo, but at the same time, like I've gotten PS.
You're in that ecosystem. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the only people on the Xbox side of things. I get so little time to play games these days that
I've been wanting to play Halo so bad.
I loved Halo Infinite. The online, I can see why people have problems with it because they didn't really support it too well, and but it's still fun as hell. It's still Halo, It's I love it. It's my favorite multiplayer stuff to play. Definitely.
I miss Halo too.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about it in the past. Yeah.
Oh my god,
it's great.
Does it still exist? Can people still play Halo online?
You can play Halo 2 like now it's part of the Master Chief Collection, which has got like all of the previous games on it, and they've got full support for all of the online stuff for every game.
Okay.
And again, on the Xbox, you get Game Pass is $10 a month, and you can play all of this stuff. It's great.
I think PlayStation's something like $80 a year or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. It doesn't come out till next year, so
exactly, we got time.
Yeah.
But before that, we've got in 2 weeks' time. It's my pick, and I was looking through our list, and we've covered a lot of it at this point. I've got work that day. Unfortunately, it's my first one back in after some time off. So I was like, again, I'm ready to do another movie, but I want to do it on a day that I'm not going to be rushed out the door. So I was thinking at one point we'd do something, but it's too similar to something we did a couple of weeks back. So I am thinking that we do Star Wars A New Hope bloopers. We yuck it up with some bloopers. We've got it on the list. I assume that there's a video somewhere.
We've done it.
Have we?
Yeah, we've done it.
We've done that one. Okay, I'll go with my fallback. It's not been marked off. I've been going through this list, and there's been a bunch that we've done that we haven't marked off.
I'm pretty sure we did it.
That's cool. I've just crossed it off now. All right. Well, then we won't just do that again. Let's do the Empire Strikes Back deleted scenes. We've done Return of the Jedi. Let's do the ones for Empire Strikes Back.
Have we done that? Have we not been marking? I haven't been marking it.
We haven't done that. You check now because I've got the list in front of me. If we have, we'll do something different. But I don't think we have.
We didn't talk about the Wampa stuff.
Oh I mean, that's what always comes to mind when I think about Empire Strikes Back. But I mean, it's definitely come up, but I don't think it's come up in that context.
Oh my god,
we're terrible at this, aren't we?
This is bad. Oh my god.
This is what happens when
let's
you've been
do
doing
that.
This
We'll stick with it.
If in the meantime that we need to call an audible, we'll call an audible and we'll do something else.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Again, liveactionstarwars.com. We post what our next live episode's going to be, and so you'll know what it is.
If you're watching this or listening to this later and you're not here live, and we have done that, and you remember distinctly that we've done that, let us know. Maybe send us a link to the video.
I'm trying to get episode artwork, and
Tristan asks if we've done the Ewok films. Oh yeah, buddy. They're there. Yeah. Like you got to go back and you got to find those videos. We can do it again, but it's up to James. I think our highest viewed video is still our coverage of the first Ewok movie. Because people think it's the actual movie. But they clearly stick around long enough for us to get the view on it. Right. Right. So I think that's up to like 35,000, is it? Or 3? I don't know. It's a lot. Right. Oh man. I'm really curious. It's been because we've been doing this is episode 75. Yeah. And we also have data link episodes and bonus episodes and mini episodes. We've been doing it for over 2 years now, and I completely forget. But we've done it. We've been doing it for longer every week than we did it every other week. Yeah. Because I feel like after Book of Boba Fett, before Book of Boba Fett came out, we were doing it every other week. Mm-hmm. Then Book of Boba Fett started and we did weekly, and that was always the plan, that when during a season we could do weekly. And then it wasn't long after that we started the data links as an in-between one, just so that we can just talk about stuff every week. Because data link, we're up to episode 15, I believe, of data link. Mm-hmm. So that would be every other week. So that's like close to 30 weeks. Yeah. I don't know. In the off seasons of shows. In the off season. Yeah. So much. Oh my God. Yeah, I need to. I'll go update the list. Or the list on our site is not updated. But see, I've just been using the one in our notes app. Let us know if we did it. Cool. But there will be something in 2 weeks' time. It'll be one of those videos. Next week, it turns out there will be something. It's a bit of a mystery. So yeah, keep an eye on the socials. It'll either be Monday or Wednesday. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Yeah. I haven't eaten today. I'm really hungry. I know. I made a smoothie because I hadn't. Yeah. All right. Anything else that we need to plug or talk about? I think we're good, aren't we? Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're good. All right.
I did a Light and Magic review or unboxing.
Oh yeah, go watch that.
And on Cue the Music.
Shame about the sleeve being ripped at the top there.
Yeah, they told me to send them a thing to get it replaced, and they haven't responded. It's been a couple days, but Mondo, I'm sure, is getting inundated with ET issues because apparently a lot of people's ET, which I just did yesterday, tons of like scratches and surface noise and pops and stuff. Mine sounded great, so
cool. I mean, it's almost like they shouldn't have laid off so many people and, you know, kept the quality of that company as high as it was before.
I know.
Fuck Funko. But don't give in to hate.
Dude, it's so bad. Like I just saw a post on Facebook from Tina Louise who played Ginger on Gilligan's Island, and she was like, people send me these Funko Pops, just so you know, like, just so we're all clear. They did not ask me to be involved with this. They did not
no
use
residuals, no nothing.
Get permission to use my likeness because the Funko Pops are done in such a way where it's like a basic shape instead of like people's likenesses. So she doesn't have to be she didn't have to be
Brian Lee O'Malley, the creator of Scott Pilgrim, he's rallied against them in the past. Not a good company, people. Really bad.
I got rid of all mine.
Yeah.
I had a whole Green Lantern thing and those are gone.
Cool. But there's very few times that we get so negative and like really go hard on a thing, but that is one that I think both of us agree. Fuck those
But
guys.
it's never about Star Wars.
No.
No.
Like what you like, collect what you want to collect. If they're your thing, cool. More power to you. Until next week. Don't give it to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.